吗？我还能体验就是有人感谢对是不是老师感到好奇，有一段时间没有更新内容了，感谢还是有人用点击率来支持欧巴桑继续累消尾。那今天欧巴桑要介绍的这部电影呢，绝对不是冷门电影哦，但是要问一下观众朋友啊，你是不是有看过这部由杨紫琼担纲演出，完全颠覆女侠作风，不走贵妇路线，使出欧巴桑松过乌拉的马的多重宇宙嘞
？Mrs. Wang. Mrs. Wang.
Mrs. Wang, are you with us?
I am paying attention.
Now, you may only see a pile of receipts, but I see a story. I can see where this story is going. It does not look good.
What's happening?
Evelyn, I'm not your husband. I'm another version of him from another universe. I'm here because we need your help.
Very busy today. No time to help you.
Across the multiverse, I've seen thousands of Evelyns. You can access all their memories, their emotions, even their skills. There's a great evil spreading throughout the many verses. And you may be your only chance of stopping it.
Don't make me fight you. I am really good.
I don't believe you.
Wow, that was really good.
He's waiting in the wings.
The
He
universe
speaks of senseless things.
is so much bigger
Script is you and
than you realize.
Of all the places I could be, I just wanted to share with you.
Remember our mission concerning the fate of every single world of our infinite multiverse.
There is no way I am the Evelyn you are looking for.
Every rejection, every disappointment has led you here. To this moment. Don't let anything distract you from it.
关于这部电影，网络爬文可以看到几百万条不是啦，有点夸张了哈。但是欧是想要表达，在网络上你随便翻找一下，都可以找到非常多关于这部电影的介绍哦。可是，在分享欧的观影心得之前呢，想要先跟大家来聊一下这部电影的导演哦，一共有2位，分别是丹尼尔·关和丹尼尔·舒奈特哦。那么这2位丹尼尔导演很有趣哦，出产的作品不多，共同执导的作品呢，一只手伸出来就数完了。但是欧必须要说，就欧巴桑看过的《尸控奇幻旅程》跟《马的多重宇宙》来讲呢，这2位导演的作品关照人心的功力可以说是有摸到大师级边的实力哦。为什么不敢直接说他们是大师嘞？实在是因为他们的作品不多啊，形容欧洛给会被人家。不过如果你2部电影都有看过，也从一开始的不理解到放声大笑，然后在后段还会哭得稀里哗啦的话，那你就会懂欧在说什么了。
Hey!
You just have to remember that we're all here for a purpose, and the universe picks its time.
I needed you to help me get home. Okay, buddy?
Okay, buddy.
You're a miracle. Or I'm just hallucinating from starvation. special. Who's special? There's 7 billion people on the planet. You might be lucky enough to bump into the one person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Oh my god.
So this is the life I've forgotten.
This is just the beginning.
怎么样？看了《尸控奇幻旅程》的预告片，会不会觉得很酷啊？那么这个预告片跟《马的多重宇宙》都有让人看完想要马上拥有是想要马上看完电影的类似感受哦。但是你一旦开始进入正片之后，就会很想问自己：妈的！我是看到了什么的奇怪感受哦？会这样形容这两部电影，完全是因为导演的风格使然哦。那么这两位导演的电影呢，很会利用故事主角日常生活的低潮，让你看见人生是如此荒谬，又不得不继续往前走的感慨哦。那么《失控奇幻旅程》是从一个寻死的男生到荒岛自杀做故事的开始，然后在一个爱放屁的尸体身上看见自己对生存的懦弱，从而在协助尸体找回生前记忆，重返社会的同时，发现自己为什么会对生存失去勇气，最后发现尸体原来是自己在社会化过程里有意无意死去的一部分内心自我哦。当你无可抗拒社会化之后，那个一部分的自我终将必须死去哦。也许形式上它离开了你，但最终会成为你活下去的另一种养分。那么欧巴桑看到最后男主角必须放弃让尸体回到大海时，真的是哭到不行啊！那种跟自己道别的痛苦真的是很令人心碎哦，却是成长必须跨越的一个过程。但是这跟马的多重宇宙有什么关系嘞？哦哟，很有关系的哦。这个马的多重宇宙呢，同样是借由一个失败的中年妇女身上去看见她以为她失去的跟她必须捍卫的家庭关系哦。马的多重宇宙让人偶怀疑啊，女主角杨紫琼的星座设定是不是巨蟹座啊？不然哪来那么多的小剧场啊？不过话说回来呢，这部电影还是能够感受到强烈的亚裔家庭里层层叠叠压抑的生活情绪哦。这或许跟导演丹尼尔关的身份有关哦。他的父亲是香港人，母亲是台湾人，他在美国麻省长大哦。个人强烈怀疑他有看过《喜宴》这部电影哦，因为同性恋跟亲子关系真的是亚裔家庭里一个说不清理还乱的大问题哦。那么如果当年李安拍《喜宴》，让人看到的是一个对儿子成家立业充满了期待，却必须接受儿子是同性恋事实的老父亲，跟为了生存必须出卖自己跟同性恋结婚的女性，最后因为意外生下不爱自己的男人的骨肉，如何组建一个多元家庭，揉捻了主角身旁过多人情绪的电影。那么马的多重宇宙绝对是《喜宴》的前传哦，在婚礼之前的家人大和解，并且从关键人物的内心世界去对照旁边以为自己是最可怜压抑的女儿角色，如何不能理解一个夹在亲情与多数社会观还不太能接纳同性恋的母亲身上是如何面对内外亲情对他内心世界所造成的摧毁与重建。当他还是女儿的时候，不懂父亲的关爱保护他的心情，以至于当他成为母亲之后，让他的下一代也不懂为什么爱要夹杂着难以启齿跟害怕不被接纳的复杂情绪在里面哦。那么身为直系血亲都不能搞懂的爱跟遑论旁系血亲的伴侣，根本很难搞懂你内心里的明白啊。但所幸我们还能言语，还能表达，就算这一切都无用，我们还能彼此拥抱哦，还能站在彼此的身旁，成为一个无声支持的力量。你看看这两位丹尼尔导演是不是大师级的导演，超会击中人心的说。
Well, the reason why I wanted to be a part of this was because first, it was an amazing script that featured a Chinese family. You know, it was a script that I haven't read anything like it for a long, long time. In fact, it's been 20 years since I stepped away from acting. And to have this opportunity presented to me was something that I couldn't say no to. In fact, I mean, working with Stephanie and Michelle and James Hong and Jamie Lee Curtis was a dream come true. And I'm so grateful to the Daniels for giving me this opportunity.
I love telling this story because it is a love story. I met the Daniels shooting an episode of Nora from Queens. The Daniels called me and they were like, hey, so we're working on this movie, like no pressure if you don't want to do it, but we think you'd be really great. And I had no idea Michelle Yeoh was attached. I had no idea it was A24. I had very little concept of Hollywood, but I just said, yes, I will do. I think that they're so special and this movie is happening because of them, truly.
And honestly, what's really interesting about these two filmmakers is that, you know, here we are in 2022, a lot of movies are done with a lot of visual effects in front of a green screen, and yet they chose to do our movie, all of it practical. I think out of the 38 shooting days we had, there was only 1 or 2 days with green screen, and it was mostly for the bagel.
Bagel!
We gotta tell them about the sofa. Evelyn and Joyce sinking into the sofa. That was amazing.
That was real. That was real. There was a sofa, and we sat down,
on the
and
crack.
someone either pulls a lever or pulls a string, and both me and Michelle go, and we get hit by the sofa. Michelle loved that so much.
Yeah.
She thought it was the funniest little roller coaster ride. I feel so lucky. I feel like I got to show up to work every single day to a masterclass. But above all else, I mean, no one can talk enough about Michelle Yeoh's performance. And literally, I can't imagine anyone else in the world could pull off what she pulls off. And I can't believe how lucky I get to say, how lucky I am to get to say that she was an incredible scene partner.
Don't make me fight you. I am really good.
I don't believe you.
Working with Michelle because, first of all, she's our matriarch. She's the head of the family. And honestly, we couldn't have done it with anybody else. Because I've been a fan of her, you know, for many, many years, seen all of her movies. It was just a joy to work with her. And honestly, I mean, I think there was the chemistry between all of us as a family was.
And I also think that the beauty of this story is the intergenerational story and intergenerational dynamics. And of course, there's the journey that we get to go on as the family across generations, 3 generations, get to learn from one another and surprise one another all the time.
台湾的导演最后来说说演员哦，饰演女主角的杨紫琼当然演得很好啊，所以我就不用细数她棒的地方了哦。至于其他的配角也都是一时之选，你看了就会懂。反而是演女儿的徐伟伦，不是那个台湾过世很久的女演员哦，而是同样有台湾背景的美国女演员徐伟伦，她真的好让我惊艳啊！一方面是因为年轻的演员没有包袱，演起来很放得开之外呢，再来就是美眉真的好适合大浓妆啊！每次她以猪八的身份登场时，我都觉得她好漂亮的说，所以胖美眉们别再以为胖就不能成为亮眼的女演员，像徐伟伦这样有演技又能扮得很美丽的女生真的很不简单呐。那么最后在结束我的废话之前呢，还是要来赞美一下这个电影里所有的武打演员们，他们真的是打得太棒了，看得让人热血沸腾的说。
In this 3-second shot from Everything Everywhere All at Once, Ke Huy Quan pulls off 5 distinct moves with 0 cuts. Compare that to this 3-second shot from 2011's Columbiana, where you see the camera cut 11 times. Everything Everywhere drew inspiration from classic martial arts movies, which routinely showcase fights with fewer cuts and camera moves compared to modern Hollywood action movies. We talked to the film's stunt coordinator and fight choreographers to find out how they pulled off some of the movie's most memorable fight scenes. The cast of Everything Everywhere handled most of their own stunts, training in wushu and nunchucks under Li Jing, the wushu world champion. And to help capture iconic kung fu movements, like the flying knee move performed by Jamie Lee Curtis in the stairwell face-off, the team incorporated wires.
We're able to get this visual of her floating, doing a flying knee down the stairwell towards Michelle.
Wire work, or wire fu, has long been a signature of kung fu movies, with OG Hong Kong films using wires so thin they were invisible on screen, even if they sometimes broke. These wires helped shape the balletic style of movie kung fu, as opposed to the blunt, fast-cutting style of action scenes in other American blockbusters.
There is an aesthetic beauty and dance-like quality to the fight sequences that you see in Hong Kong action.
Thanks to modern visual effects, Everything Everywhere actors wore thicker, safer wires that could get erased in post. And these helped emphasize exaggerated hits and reactions, like here, where Michelle Yeoh's pinky finger had to look strong enough to hit someone across the room.
It's a great example of that juxtaposition of a seemingly powerless body part, your pinky, blasting people into these just crazy reactions. And we use wires for all of the reactions to that to like get this very dynamic reaction out of it.
The only problem,
there's no place to hang our wires in this building because we just didn't have the height and the ceiling space to do a lot of the work as we typically do it. We had to build a system of ropes and truss to do this so that we could shoot a guy 30 feet in the air after being flicked in the chin by Michelle's pinky.
Wires were pivotal in the trophy fight, which was full of extreme motions like this leap through the air. That was Brian Lee, who, with his brother Andy, choreographed the fights in the film, and actually appeared in several of them.
The part where I jump through and I'm sailing through the air, slow motion, to emphasize, the air time and to emphasize the beauty of it.
Another moment that needed wire support? This wide shot where Michelle extracts butt plugs from both of the Lee brothers in slow-mo. Andy is getting pulled by a wire while Brian's suspended up top, holding a plank position. You might be noticing a theme here. Characters making weapons out of haphazard objects in the environment, from IRS trophies to computer keyboards.
There's a lot of influence from Jackie Chan and his canon of work in that particular portion of the fight sequence.
How we use the environment around us to make weapons out of practically anything. A box, a riot shield, pipes.
This use of random objects may look scrappy, but it actually involves super detailed choreography. Nailing it all took extensive pre-visualization, where the Lee brothers recorded themselves doing different beats of the fight, then marked through all of the movements with Michelle. One prop called for special attention: the fanny pack, in a scene where Waymond wields this harmless dad accessory as a deadly weapon. Ke Huy Quan did most of his own moves, save for this shot, where thanks to face-swapping technology, Andy could step in for Ke to do that mid-air spin and some of the trickier choreography on the ground. And for shots like where Waymond does all these raps, the team used a stunt double fanny pack with an elongated 7-foot-long strap that allowed Ke to spin it around more, plus padded zippers so that none of his targets would get cut in the face.
So let's do a real fanny pack and 2 cameras.
To execute this sequence of moves at the end of the fight, he brought the fanny pack home with him for practice, refining his technique based on wushu rope dart martial arts. It paid off on set when he managed to nail the kick on only his second try.
Come on!
He needed to get the kick right within a single take because it'd be seen in a wide shot, capturing the action and reaction in one. This approach to the camera set the fights in Everything Everywhere apart from conventional Hollywood fight scenes. Typically fast cuts and swinging camera motions make the actors' hits look more violent. Classic kung fu movies don't need to rely on those techniques, since the stars usually have some background in martial arts and can actually fight. The camera work and editing tends to show action and reaction in the same frame, rather than jerking or cutting around. The directors of Everything Everywhere followed that model, as they wanted audience members to see it was actually the actors fighting in most of the scenes. They didn't want to have to shake the camera a lot or point away from the actors' faces to sell the fight. Another kung fu-inspired moment, the beginning of the fanny pack scene, where the camera starts on a close-up of Waymond looking up, then slowly pulls back. Andy said this moment of realization is a signature of kung fu movies. There's a focus on the eyes, and then this wider scope of the battlefield. These knuckle cracks, too, are a reference to classic kung fu. Executing these core kung fu moves perfectly was just half the work on Everything Everywhere. The team also had to put their own spin on the choreography. Literally, as you can see in these moves Andy did while doubling for Ke.
And a lot of those moves, a lot of those sweeping groundwork floor techniques, they don't exist in martial arts.
Yeah, that's straight breakdancing.
At least not yet. So I implemented that just to add a little more of a modern flair and modern spice to it. Breakdancing, like b-boying, you got a lot of sweeping techniques that you can't find in any martial arts.
This hit is also a specialty stunt reaction that you won't see all that often in movies.
There was a guy that I brought in for that very final hit where the fanny pack click goes in his nose and he yanks him down. I wanted that to be the most brutal reaction in the entire fight. And the guy does a reaction called a scorpion, where you go from standing to all of a sudden inverted. It looks like you're landing on your face, breaking your neck, and it's a very specialty reaction. Not very many people can do it.
The human body is not supposed to bend that.
Yeah, it just looks nasty. It looks like a scorpion. That's
The fights in Everything Everywhere bent the rules of human movement and action in general.
We shouldn't be copying what the veterans of Hong Kong cinema has done for us before. We kind of use their films and their body of work as kind of like an encyclopedia. We elevated it with all the wild wackiness and like the new moves that we're bringing into the picture. I believe it's our job to enhance it and evolve it, whether it be with VFX, moves with like, you know, parkour and like martial arts tricking and breakdancing. And I think that's going to be a very important aspect of the evolution of martial arts filmmaking. Oof.
选片一定有风险，你的观影经验不会每一次都是美好的，但是就不看电影吗？拜托千万不要看电影前应详阅公开说明，尤其是那些值得你冒险的电影。是不是影聊室我们看心情不定期更新，你也可以看心情，偶尔过来听听我们在棒修醉。我们下次见。